This is Scratch, one of the most basic coding languages. And this is Mozart, one of the most well-known composers of the classical period. And when you combine them together, so, how did I go from nothing but a blank canvas to a project with so many moving parts and cool effects in only 5 days? This is how I continued Mozart's legacy on Scratch. The story begins on a Monday. I was sitting around when I suddenly decided I wanted to make something spectacular. So I thought to myself, what kind of things are entertaining? At that moment I looked up at my YouTube homepage, and that is when I got hit with a burst of inspiration. A YouTube channel simply known for releasing videos about brilliant piano pieces with an aesthetic look behind them. But to me, there was something more. Something behind the visuals and the movement of the keys. Something I could work with, something I could use, something spectacular. At that moment I knew what I had to do. I knew I had to attempt the impossible and recreate the beauty of the keys on a platform that wouldn't allow it. I knew that the next 5 days would be a hard 5 days and that I'd be willing to go through with it. I knew that if I were to be successful, I'd have to work hard, and if I worked hard, I would be successful.
He knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the...
Oops, I got in a bit of a trance there. Let's get back to things. The first thing I did was generating a layout of keys on screen. To do this, I created this custom block which ran the code within 1 frame, so it was instantaneous. Here, I initially started with the white keys and generated them in a line. Then, I had it switch the costume of the keys so that it was the appearance of a black key. Then, I had it clone itself 3 times, followed by a space, and then twice over. This created the classic piano key setup. I then repeated this process with the black keys so that the entire screen was covered correctly in the keyboard look, laying the foundations of the project and preparing the way for the harder things to follow. With the layout sorted, I was ready to choose a song and begin work on the movement of the notes. After some deliberation, I finally found my shining star. Okay, I have a confession to make. It's not Mozart. Why does the title of the video say it's Mozart? Why'd you lie to us? It's the title of the video. I can't even with this guy. I'm unsubscribing. Honestly, everyone should unsubscribe right now. The real composer is Chopin, or Chopping as I say, but I have no clue who that is and neither do you, so let's continue. So we have the music, we have a purpose, we have a plan. And that is to find a way to transfer all the notes from the song onto Scratch and have the notes full down, perfectly timed with the music, and I'll add some more effects in later. The simplest method I found to making the notes fall in time was to create a list of notes to be played. Here, I'd add a special encoded message into the list whenever I needed a note to fall. This code was separated into the X location of the note and what type it was, whether that be small, large, medium, or tiny. Whenever an encryption is added onto the list, the sprite knows it needs to clone itself and switch its costume to the note, and then go to the position recorded in the encryption. This method is simple and easy, except for the fact that I have to time every note perfectly. So with a system in place, the next phase begins. Now there are 2 methods that I could use to create this song. One includes the classic scratch music blocks, which would be undoubtedly an impressive feat, and the other is the simple and not as impressive method of just importing the song as an MP3 file and having it play in the background. By now you would have realized that I'm not someone that backs down to a challenge, and I rise up against adversity, I conquer all obstacles, and I achieve what I want. So between these two options, which one do you think I chose? Yeah, sorry guys, it's already hard enough. I went for option 2. Oh, come on now, come on, this is difficult! And so, with the music playing when the project starts, I had to manually time the notes to hit the bottom of the screen so that it tricked the viewer into thinking that the note was being played. I know that's a fast transition, but the music just hit so perfectly there. The effects, that's what you've been waiting for. How did I do the effects? How did I make these cool sparkly things? Only the music nerds care about the notes and the song composition. Everyone else just loves the sparkles. So here's how I put them together. I started by making a sprite for the particle effects. Here, I created multiple different costumes with different designs for what the particles would look like, and would randomize which ones came out. Then, I applied a wave function to them so that they naturally oscillated left and right in a smooth motion. To bring more attention to which key was being struck, I animated the key by making it switch its costume to a lit up version of itself when it was in contact with the note, which gave more credibility to the falling notes. You may have also noticed that there's this circle of light around the key that's being played, and that's also an intentional detail. I did try my best to add smoke, but I couldn't control its opacity, and so I just kinda bombed the screen. Okay, but that does look kinda cool. So here we are at the end of the road after achieving everything that we set out to, rebirthing Mozart, rebirthing Chopping's composition in Scratch, and once again conquering a new goal. And although we did not take the hardest path this time, we sure did something great, because in the end, the hardest path was to begin this in the first place. And not only did I start this project thinking it was impossible, but I finished knowing that anything is achievable. And so with that, the project is officially up and has been released. I hope that you enjoy it.